Okay, people, I know that this is a bit early for another video and that this is gonna serve as like tomorrow's video, and yes, I am still ill. Illness don't just like go away in one day, unfortunately. But I think that this is fairly important. The person that I'm talking about now, he's not the only person accused, by the way. The person that made the soundtracks for Skyrim, as far as I'm aware, is also accused of sexual allegations against him, and there's apparently more, but I can't get out of anyone who that more is. It's like a huge campaign to expose sexual predators in the games industry. And this is most definitely something that never should be done, because you are accusing of people without providing any proof, and you're causing a mass hysteria. And it has already leaked into my tweets with people going, I'm no longer feeling comfortable in playing Skyrim, I will no longer play Cultist Simulator. So I thought it was pretty important to record and read exactly what was said about this person. An Anon account has been naming abusers in the games industry. Like, I wish I knew what that account was. I asked people several times, nobody gave me an answer. Alexis Kennedy is one of them. I can't speak to the motives of the Anon, but Alexis is a well-known predator in the games industry. I have been warning people about him for years. If you have not heard this before, it is because Alexis Kennedy has retaliated against people who have spoken out against him in the past, and many he has harmed, the most are rightfully afraid to come forward. He has frightened and threatened a lot of women into silence. I am speaking out now because I am finally in a position where I can do so, and also protect others. I'm not going to provide names or details publicly because those are not my stories to share. Then you shouldn't be sharing them, because now this is becoming a he said, she said broken telephone. I can't even trust you to be telling me about a real crime that may have occurred because it's a story of someone else whose details you're not gonna share. It's not even them sharing it online anonymously, it's them sharing their own friends' stories. But I believe and trust the multitude, and it is the multitude of accusers. Alexis Kennedy has used his reputation and association with prominent women, plus minorities, including me, as a cover for his predations and abuses. The only way I can protect people from further harm is to state this publicly and explicitly. Alexis Kennedy has a pattern of befriending young women who are entering the industry and then crosses professional boundaries with them. This is exploitative. I know this now because he did this to me when I approached him as a young woman looking for career advice and work. This is not serial dating. So what you're saying is that he didn't actually rape you or anything or grab you inappropriately, he went on a date with you? Because as far as I know, going on dates with women, no matter their age or position, is not really a crime. I mean, if my boss was trying to force me to go on a date with him, I would have left the company and I would have reported that kind of behavior. If it's just like a suggestion, you're allowed to say no. And as a grown woman, I can exercise this right freely without someone having to speak for me because I am an adult and not a child. This is a pattern of abuse perpetrated by older men who uses his professional, financial, and social power to exploit women sexually and professionally. He has threatened many women with retaliation to ensure silence and compliance. Alexis Kennedy targets people who are vulnerable and those who are outside of the whisper networks, particularly young women. If this doesn't sound like the person you know, then this is intentional. His respectfulness towards men and established women in the industry is a sham. I know that Alexis has used his friendship with me and other established women in the industry to isolate young women, plus vulnerable people to make them think they will not be believed, to isolate them from avenues of help. This is deliberate and a grotesque violation of trust. If he was actually abusing someone, I want to hear it from the person that's getting abused and not from you. It was only after I started speaking out about Alexis more openly that people began to confide their experiences of abuse and exploitation. More stories than I imagine, each heartbreaking. I know there are more out there I don't know about. This is how abusers operate. I cannot in good conscience allow Alexis Kennedy to claim that the allegations against him are some kind of channel attack of progressive devs. He is a liar and a predator, and what has come out so far is a fraction of the truth that the damage he has done. I've spent the last 2 years of my life quietly refusing invitations to panels with AK on them, pulling out of industry events when I know he will be there, warning those I could, comforting those I couldn't warn in time. I have felt enormous shame for not seeing AK's abusive towards others sooner. I felt humiliated for my perceiving an older man's interest as a professional when, in hindsight, it wasn't. How embarrassingly naive. But the shame and humiliation belonged to him, not me. This will be painful for a lot of people, even those he has victimized. I am sorry for that. My DMs are open if you need support, or if you want to share your story with me. I promise I will never share anything you tell me without permission. Love and solidarity. There will also be many people reading this who won't feel able to share their stories about Alexis or about other abusers in the industry, publicly or otherwise. To those people, I see you and I support you. Together, we're more powerful than they can possibly imagine. Be safe. You see, I have problems. First, I don't even know what happened. I think she went on a date with him and agreed to go on a date with him, and they had like sex. And then he moved on to another woman, which is not illegal. It is not illegal to dump someone, especially if they have consented to going on that date and consented to having sex. I am gonna assume that she wasn't a minor at the time, meaning she is of full ability to give consent. She didn't give us specifics as to what happened during said dates, like anything that would exclude her from being able to give consent, like getting super drunk. There are no like rape allegations from the looks of it, and I have no idea about what the other stories are even about, because she just mentions many women are coming out against him without even stating their stories. Not even an anonymous story is out there, just many women. And you know what's sad? This is enough to get people stopping from playing your game. I know that yesterday people were like, I'm no longer listening to this Skyrim music anymore. I'm not gonna play that. I'm not gonna touch that game because the person that made the music is a sexual predator. And today a whole bunch of streamers I saw, this came out 2 hours ago, that are playing Cultist Simulator were like, I'm stopping this playthrough because I'm no longer comfortable with it. And I wish I could unbuy the game, or I'm not gonna pick up the game anymore. And these are baseless accusations. They're not even... I know that baseless is like a hard word, but they're not even taking these to court. And there's literally nothing to prove them. And it's all coming from one person saying that there are many allegations about this, and they're not even distinctively saying what he has done. Which is very sad, because that is enough to destroy a man's career. Just to say that there's many allegations against him, and that he has used women in some way. That is enough. That is it. A whole bunch of internet is in hysteria. His career is in ruins. Alexis Kennedy replies with, I deny this. I have had a small number of fully consensual relationships with other people in the industry. Everything else here is a malicious misrepresentation. I have taken legal advice and I'm making a police complaint about what seems to be a campaign of harassment. I fully support him. This is influencing his work. He is unable to get purchases of the game. People are throwing away everything that he has done over this accusation. Meaning this is a campaign of harassment, especially when there's no specifics. I can't imagine your lawyer is super thrilled by you continuing to tweet through this creep. The best way to prove your innocence is to keep talking until you screw up. That's not what an ethical or innocent person does. Yes, it is. If you get allegations thrown at you that are ruining your career, please don't just lie down and let yourself be walked over it. Ah yes, the very credible, I would never attempt to silence someone. Now to very publicly announce that I'm calling the police. I really hope you type through this, creep. Well, yes, that is the proper action to take. If you have a complaint, take it to the authorities. Don't just go to the internet, especially when it can be so harmful to someone because people immediately believe you. Like, it is obscene that I could launch accusations of sexual harassment against my previous boss, and the internet would immediately go and harass him. Doesn't matter if it happened, doesn't matter if I don't give details about it. It's a witch hunt. And I know that some people will say, oh, but there is a lot of stigma against like believing the victims and shit, and therefore we should believe the victims. There's nothing to gain by lying. There's a lot to gain by lying. For one thing, revenge, especially if it was a guy that you dated and then dumped. Or got dumped by. And you just wanna get one in. Or you want some exposure and publicity so that people buy your product. There is a lot to gain from this. And when it's such an unspecific allegation, it does feel very much like a witch hunt. And everybody's immediately siding with her. This thread is less than an hour old and you already threatened legal action. You look like such a liar. But also, calling the police on a person of color over this. Even if everything in this thread previously wasn't true, you really should be exiled for everyone's safety. So if a person of color or a minority commits a crime, we shouldn't even report it? I don't know what kind of delusional bubble these people are living in. I am gonna leave the link to the thread. And I'm gonna make an update video later if I need to, based on how the situation's moving and whether or not there's a full list of allegations launched against men in the industry, because I'm kinda interested in seeing it. But please, doesn't matter if it happened or not, do not immediately jump on a train. Please wait for court dates, please wait to hear the proof. Please at least ask for details and stories and don't just accept of something has happened to me, because this is such an incredibly vague story and it is so sad that it immediately kills somebody's career. It is innocent until proven guilty, not guilty until proven innocent, especially when the allegations are very, very vague. Like, if you say a murder has been committed by a man wearing a green hat in the street, that is specifics and that is details. But if you're saying, long ago, this man somewhere has killed someone, and I know, and a lot of people know, and we're not gonna take this to the courts, then I am sorry, but that is defamation. What's happening is defamation. So please, people, be better at this. Don't immediately jump on a train of hate and wait for proof and answers. I'm not gonna go in and defend him. I don't know if the allegations are true or not. I don't. But I'm not gonna condemn him over one vague story posted online.